When I first learned hypnosis, I thought hypnosis was just hypnosis. Close your eyes and you're going to quit smoking.
Most of us are relatively aware of the fact that we have conscious thoughts, but also unconscious thoughts, automatic thoughts, that are occurring at a level below the conscious.
There's a whole realm of consciousness and spirituality involved in the mind beyond just telling the mind what to do.
Some people have some misconceptions. The biggest misconception is that somehow the hypnotist controls you. It's a total misconception. The hypnotist can guide you and can help you get to where you want to go, but at any time, in any session, if a subject felt like there was a need to get up and walk out, they could. There's been a lot of research done on hypnosis. We know the answer to some of these questions. It's in this. Well, the way I got into hypnosis is really an odd story because I'm a minister by training, and I had a church, and I was in Texas, and I always did a lot of speaking outside the church on psychological topics, and I was flying back to Texas from the East Coast, and I saw in the back of USA Today as I was reading an ad looking for professional speakers, and so I thought, well, I'll answer the ad. It was an 800 number. I called them up, and they said, we do weight loss seminars and we use hypnosis. And I have to be honest, my initial reaction was, oh, hypnosis sounds kind of hokey, but I called them and they sent me a videotape of the weight loss seminar, and from a physiological standpoint it was very solid. And so I called a psychologist friend of mine that was in my church, and we had breakfast together, and I ran this by him about hypnosis, and he says, hey, I use hypnosis in my practice all the time. It's great. He says, it's not a cure-all, nothing is. He says, but there's nothing to be afraid of about hypnosis. He says, I'd go ahead and look into it. So to make a long story short, they liked me, and so they sent one of their gentlemen out to train me, and I traveled around with him for a while, and we did the seminars, and at the end of just really a short amount of time, he said, I think you're ready. Good. Now, if you would, close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, just turn your left palm so it faces up toward the ceiling. Just your left palm. Yeah, good. Now, I'd like you to think of, imagine, feel a heavy, almost every day in my clinic, I have people come in who are interested in hypnosis. Obviously, they wouldn't be coming in, but they know nothing about it. And they're very honest about that, and I think that's a good thing to be honest about. They have maybe seen a movie, or maybe they've seen a stage hypnosis show, and maybe they have a friend who quit smoking with hypnosis, and so they just don't know what to think. So the first thing I do is I explain to them that there's no issue of control. They're always in control, but I'm guiding them and helping them because they come to me motivated to bring about some sort of change. Maybe they want to lose weight, maybe they want to quit smoking, maybe they want to overcome a fear, and so they're interested. And so then I explain that in hypnosis, most people look asleep, but no one ever feels asleep. You look asleep, but you do not feel asleep. And so I say the conscious mind is like a filter, and in hypnosis it just moves over. Now, if it left the room, you'd be unconscious, and you would look asleep, and you would be asleep. You would be unaware of what was going on consciously. In hypnosis, your conscious mind is still aware. You know what's going on. Your deep unconscious, though, seemingly is operating separately than your conscious mind. So it's like you have two parts of your brain working at the same time, but working on different things. And really what happens in hypnosis at a mental level, whether it be from a behavioral level or whether it be from like a brain scan level, if you're doing a functional MRI or a PET scan, is the parts of the brain that are involved in focus and concentration are fully engaged during hypnosis, fully engaged. So instead of being asleep, it's just the opposite. They're incredibly absorbed and focused in that experience and what the hypnotist is guiding them through in the suggestions.
Yeah, try and pull out, try and pull it. You can't do it, uh-oh. They open the doors and they let a whole swarm of horseflies in here and they're after your nose. They're trying to get in your nose, they're trying to get what's in your nose, and your hands are stuck to your thighs and they're after your nose. They're trying to get your nose. Don't let them get your nose, don't let them get in there, don't let them get in there.
Many people that are professional mental health providers are very against stage hypnosis. They're not against hypnosis, but they don't think that you should lessen in the minds of the public the power of a medical procedure like hypnosis with stage hypnosis. And so many people who are psychologists, some medical doctors, etc., they look down their nose sort of at people who do stage hypnosis. But my experience has been that if you do a good, clean stage hypnosis show, one that's appropriate, one that's fun, what happens is the opposite. People see the power in hypnotism and they can tell this is not your normal everyday activity. What's going on here? There is a power in hypnosis that I think I like to research and find out more about and maybe even use for my self-improvement. I respect many of the people in the field who are psychologists and who really have strong opinions about this, but I think that it's better that you have someone like myself or some of my other friends who are professional hypnotists and who are trained doing stage shows too, because you're never going to stop stage hypnosis. There's too much money in it. It's a huge amount of money in stage hypnosis. Matter of fact, just like in any field, the entertainers make the most money. The best paid hypnotists in the world are all stage hypnotists. I mean, it's not unusual for a really good college hypnotist to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, even $5,000 a show. And they often will do anywhere from 100 to 300 shows a year. So they're very well paid. So you're never going to stop it because of the money. And number two, you're never going to stop it because people like it. It's entertaining, it's fun. I mean, half the colleges in America have a regular stage show every year come to the campus, not to mention the corporations, not to mention the high schools and doing after proms, school assemblies. So you're never going to stop it. So I say to my psychologist friends, wouldn't you rather have someone who's had training, who is ethical, who is professional, doing a show, than some magician who figured out they can make a quick buck doing a stage show and learned a routine and know nothing more about hypnosis than that routine? And I have a lot of good friends, and one of them wrote this book in front of me. He understands. Now, he doesn't condone doing stage hypnosis, but he understands my position, and he agrees, well, if somebody's going to do it, might as well have somebody that knows what they're doing, someone who's ethical, and someone who's going to be professional. Because the truth is, when people are in a stage setting, who can account for taste? And there are some people doing stage hypnosis shows who have, in my opinion, no taste. And unfortunately, they do cast a negative shadow on hypnotism when they do their shows. But the majority of people who do stage hypnosis shows are good, decent people who have had some training, and they do not in any way want to cause any problems for any of their subjects or volunteers. And generally, people, for example, I had a gentleman last year in St. Louis. He owns a big company in St. Louis. He went to Vegas on vacation. He volunteered at a stage show, and he was one of the stars of the show. He had no idea he was a good hypnotic subject. He had no idea. He'd been a great athlete when he was young, and as you'll often find is, a lot of good athletes are very good hypnotic subjects because they're so good at focusing. He'd been a good athlete, but he'd never been hypnotized. He was in the stage show. I guess he was incredible. So then he came back to St. Louis, saw my ad, and went, I'm going to go in there. Well, he immediately lost weight. He did great. He got to his goal weight, and then he signed up for a whole another 6 months because it was helping him with his stress with his business, because, you know, it's tough to own a business in this economy. And so he's been with me a year. But he's an amazing hypnotic subject, but he never would have known about the power of hypnosis had it not been for a stage show.
Oh, hello. Have you finished watching our video? Well, that's wonderful. Now, here's a secret. You can get even more useful information by clicking the link below. Go ahead, click it. It's right there. I don't see you clicking. You're not clicking, are you? Ah, now you click. Now that's better. There you go. I see you there.